Hello everyone. Welcome to the next training session of SAP FICO module. In today's training session, we'll be covering the topic of internal order accounting. Internal order accounting, which is one of the sub-module of SAP controlling part. In internal order accounting, today we'll be covering overview on internal order accounting, configuration steps which are divided into 5 parts. One is activate order management in controlling area, then order master data, creation of internal order and internal order groups, then planning and settlement. Once the configuration are done, then we'll be moving to the unit testing part so as to have the testing of the configuration, how far and how successful we are in it, and after that we'll be executing few of the internal order processes as well so as to understand how internal order works. So moving on to the internal order accounting overview. Internal order accounting are normally used to plan, collect and settle the cost of internal jobs and tasks. Internal order accounting is designed for detailed oriented analysis. It deals with the overhead management and is used by most of the manufacturing industries, especially in make to order industry. It is very useful. Internal order accounting are used for short-term purposes like trade fair, job fairs, etc. Whereas the cost centers are used for long-term purpose to capture day-to-day cost. Now, internal order accounting is probably one of the most difficult areas within the CO module to understand. Whereas cost center and profit center accounting, which we have already covered in the previous training sessions, have been in mainframe accounting for quite some time, but internal order and the unique properties have been new to many of the organizations even today. Internal order accounting allows you to manage and track the information about the cost at a granular level. It is designed for a detailed oriented analysis. It allows you to track the information around a production order or a set of production order using internal orders. Breakup of cost at a granular details to settle them to the appropriate cost object assignment and do the numerous other tasks as well. Now let's have a simple example to have a better understanding of how an internal order is used in any organization. So let's say in an organization there are various events such as trade fairs, training seminars, job fairs which occur during the year. Now let's assume that for some time that these trade fairs or the training seminars are organized by the marketing department, which have a marketing cost center of the organization in SAP. Therefore, in this case, marketing cost center is responsible for all the trade fair costs involved in the trade fairs part. All these trade fairs costs are posted to the marketing cost centers. Now, once these trade fairs are done, suppose there are multiple trade fairs in it, and now if the management wants an analysis of the cost incurred for each of the trade fairs organized by the marketing cost center or the marketing department, how would the marketing manager get this piece of information according to them? The cost center report would not give this information or this piece of information to the manager. The cost center can just give the cost incurred on the different trade fairs, but the cost center cannot bifurcate the cost of all different trade fairs as per their respective part. Now this is where internal order steps in. If you go through all the cost center reports, this information is not readily available since all the costs are posted to the cost center. But in case of internal order, SAP therefore provides the facility of using internal orders, which comes in a real handy in such situations. In the above scenario, the controlling department would then need to create an internal order for each of the trade fairs organized. So each trade fair will have its own internal order. The cost incurred for each of the trade fairs will be posted to their respective internal orders during the month. At the month end, these costs which are collected in the internal order will be settled from these orders to the marketing cost centers. Thus, the controlling person is now in a position to analyze the cost for each of the trade fair separately. The internal order is used to monitor the cost for such short-term events or activities. It helps in providing more information than that is provided on the cost centers. It can be widely used for various purposes. Now take some other practical example where internal order is more helpful. Like as said, that it is more useful in make to order industries where the organization or a particular manufacturing organization entity receives orders from different companies for the products to be manufactured. So when products are manufactured on orders, each order received are assigned a particular internal order from SAP. So in that case, every order cost will be tracked in that internal order, and if you want to know what is the total cost of production for that particular order, that can be generated with the help of internal order and can be taken for the analysis purpose. So in this way, internal order is used so as to have the reports for a respective job or activity which is being held for that particular organization part. So once at the month end or the year end or once the activity is over, these internal orders values are then settled to the cost centers. And by this, the manager or the management is in a position to analyze that what should be the plan cost and what is the actual cost of the orders which has been manufactured, or what is the actual cost of that particular event or jobs or activities involved. So this is where internal order accounting is very helpful. Now moving to the next are the configuration steps as on the screen. The first is activate order management in controlling area. Then we'll be moving to the next part is order master data, which involves 4 of the configuration steps within the master data. Then there are creation of internal order groups and creation of internal orders. Then planning. Planning includes maintain user defined planner profiles, maintain planner profiles for overall planning. Then settlement, where the internal order has to be settled at the end of the month or at the end of the year. The settlement includes maintain allocation structures, maintain settlement profiles, and maintain number ranges for settlement documents. So let's move to the configuration steps one by one. moving to the first configuration step, that is activate order management in controlling area. So this activate internal order accounting for the controlling area prior to beginning the configuration. So what we need to do is, in this, each module in controlling has to be activated for the controlling area prior to the configuration steps. So you need to activate the order management in the or controlling area before starting the configuration for internal order accounting. This particular configuration is the same, has the same node or the path where we maintain the controlling area. So the path is on the screen. We can revisit that. IMG, that is SPRO, controlling, and in controlling to internal orders, and then activate order management in controlling area. So let's move on to the SAP system. Let me log in. So now we can enter. So as we have logged into the system, now we can move on to the SPRO. Enter. Now we need to go to the SAP reference IMG. Then we need to move on to the controlling part. And now in the controlling part, we need to go to internal orders. So we can execute internal orders over here. And within internal orders, you can see the option activate order management in controlling area. So the first step is to activate the order management in the controlling area. So we can go and we can execute this option over here. Now once we have moved on to the next screen, now we can select our own controlling area. For searching the controlling area, we can go to this position and we can put the controlling area code which we have created, that is Z100. Enter. Now you can have a look that you have got your controlling area over here. So we can select the controlling area, and now we can double click on the activate component. So once you have got your controlling area, you need to select the controlling area, and then you need to double click on activate component control indicators. So once you double click onto this, it will take you to the next screen. So now you can see that there is a next screen where you can find there are a couple of different components which we even have discussed in cost center accounting, where we activated the cost center accounting in this case. So over here now in this case we have to activate the order management. Order management refers to the internal order accounting. So you can see over here the internal order is already active on the screen, as when we created the controlling area, we activated these components in one go at the very beginning. Else, if you don't activate these options in one go at the beginning while defining the controlling area, in that case you have to revisit these steps one by one with each and every module in controlling, and you have to activate those options. So as on the screen now, we have already activated the order management. So once you have activated these options over here, now we can move and we can, okay, and you need to select this variances as well over here as on the screen in below. So you have to activate the order management over here, and we can select this variances over here on the screen as well. So you need to select both of them, and apart from that, if you want, you can select these other options like cost objects, and these two are not needed, so we'll leave them blank as of now. Now we can move and we can save the screen. So once we save the screen, the configurations will be saved to the request. As you can see, it has been saved. Okay, so the data was saved, as you can see. So now moving back, to the IMG screen. So this is how you have activated the order management in controlling area with the path, as well as otherwise there is a transaction code for that as well, that is OKKP. So you can use either the path or the transaction code with whichever you are comfortable with. Now we are done with this particular configuration step, so we'll be moving to the next configuration step, that is the order master data. And in order master data we'll be defining order types, then maintaining the number ranges for orders, define order layouts, and define model orders. Moving on to the define order types. An order type contains control information that you need for managing orders. You have to assign every order to an order type, or else you can say that an internal order is created under an order type. An order type is used to storing various control parameters and various defaults while creating an internal order. The order type is client specific, which means that every order type can be used in all the different controlling areas. A number range is assigned to the internal order. The order type is the central figure in internal order accounting. The internal type determines what information can be held, how it will be settled, planning and budgeting parameters, authorizations, what other master data is required, and how it will be displayed on the screen. When developing the order type, you should begin the process with the keeping the ends in mind. Order type configuration is an interactive process. Remember that all the order types are controlling area independent, so changes made here will be felt everywhere, that is in every controlling area. So let's see how we can configure the order types. The path is on your screen. The menu path has been defined, as well as the transaction codes are there. Either of these two, any of them can be used. We'll be moving with the path. So let's move on to the SAP system. We need to go to the SPRO transaction first, enter, and then we need to go to SAP reference IMG. Now from IMG we need to go to controlling, then internal orders. So we'll be moving to the controlling over here, and then expanding it, and then we'll be moving to the internal orders, and then expanding the internal orders. And within internal order we need to go to order master data, and in order master data define order types. So this is their order master data. We need to expand this over here, and then the first option, that is define order types. So the path is from controlling to internal orders, then to order master data and define order types. Now let's execute the define order type step. Now executing it, and it will take us to the next screen, as you can see on the screen now. So to create the order type we need to go to new entries. So let's click onto the new entry button over here on the screen. So once I click onto the new entries, it asks for the order category. Now in this we have to enter the category of the order type being developed. So let's see what are the different list of order categories as on this. So we need to expand the list. There are around 13 optional choices as on the screen. There are internal order, accrual calculation orders, model order, CO production order, QM order, PP order, network, process order, and all. But what we need to take is the first one, that is 01, the internal order for controlling. So you need to select the 01 over here. Once you have selected the 01, now next press enter key to open the create order type screen, that is the next screen. So click onto the enter. Once I entered, it took us to the next screen from where we will be creating the order type. At this point, if you want to change the order category now, the order category which we have defined, once an order type is defined, you cannot delete the order type, or even you cannot uh, change the order category once an order type has been defined. If you want to change the order category in the order type, you need to delete the order type first, and you have to create a new order type for that. So moving on to this particular part now, the first is the order type option over here. So in this we have to enter the ID for the new order type. The ID can be up to 5 alphanumeric characters in length. So let's take the ID over here as 1100, and the description can be taken up over here as real internal order type 1200. 1200 refers to the company code for which this order type has been defined. Now moving to the next now is the number range. So number range is not defined as of now. We will be defining that in the next couple of steps to move with. Moving to the next is the general parameters. General parameter section of the order, you can see the fields for settlement profile is there, planning profile, budgeting profile is there. We need to assign each of these to the order type successfully so as to complete the configuration of this part. So let's move on to the general parameter. The first one is the general parameters, that is settlement profile. Now in the settlement profile, we need to select the ID over here again, and we can select the ID from the list of options which are available to us. So we can expand the list of settlement profile IDs and we can see which we can use. So there are a number of different profiles, but the one which we would be needing to take over. So out of these all settlement, the settlement profile which we need to assign is 9090, that is must not be settled. So this is the order type which we have to select over here on the screen. So once we have selected the order settlement type over here on the screen, now we can move on to the next step, that is planning profile. Moving to the planning profile now, we can go to the options again over here on the screen. We can create our own planning profile also, or we can take the one which is already on the screen. So right now the profile which we will be taking for planning profile is 00001, that is general budget plan profile. So this is what you need to select over here on the screen. Now moving to the next is the budget profile, and now in the budget profile the profile will control budgeting views and availability control activations. So for that again we need to go for the list of different budget profiles available, and out of these we will be taking the general budget profile. So that is what been selected over here on the screen. Then moving to the object class, this will assign the internal order to a further group of object classes. The groups are as on your screen: overhead cost, or investment, or production, or profit analysis. So the one which we will be taking as of now is the overhead cost as on the screen. Now moving to the next is functional area. So we don't need the functional area over here. Functional area is used when the cost of sales accounting is there in the system. The next is model order. Now model order is one which we have to define. So we will come back to this particular part once we define the order type, and then we'll be assigning the order type onto this screen. So if during the internal order creation you wish to always copy a specific order, we need to enter the model order over here. In that case, during the order creation, SAP will automatically copy the active fields from this reference, that is the model order, into the new order active fields. So what model number does is it plays the role as a reference, and whenever an internal order is created, most of the relevant fields are copied from the model number to the internal order, and that is what this has been used for. So we'll see that later on. We'll come back to this again. Now moving to the next part now is the control indicators on the other side. So in the control indicators, you can find one as a CO partner update. This field determines how an order will post during CO allocations, that is the controlling allocations. This setting will influence the number of data records maintained in the order accounting. There are three choices which are available. The semi-active is a default assignment by the SAP system. Else you can go for these of any of these three options as a update. The first one is active. In ranking from higher to lower with reference to the number of records maintained during the allocation, active ranks number 1. A total record will be maintained for all the parties if the CO partner update is active. Semi-active is the second highest in the number of records posted during order-to-order allocation, such as settlement, for allocation between an order and a cost center. These all details are been taken up over here in the semi-active part. And non-active means no total record is maintained for the receiving object, regardless of whatever, whether there is an internal order or not. So what you need to take over here on the screen is the active part. So we'll be taking the active part over here, and we need to select the commitment management, activate the commitment management, revenue posting, and integrated planning. So commitment posting, if activated, then the commitments such as purchase requisitions and purchase orders can be tracked on the order type. Also, if we activate the revenue posting, then you can plan on tracking the revenues on the order type. But if you don't activate the revenue postings, SAP will return with an error when you try to post a revenue element in the internal order. Integrated planning. If the planning integration is selected here, planned data can be automatically passed on to the profit center accounting as well. So this is what you need to select on these parameters. Now moving on to the next is the status update. So moving on to the status update, we don't need to do anything over here in the status update part. No changes are to be required in this particular case. The next is over here is the archiving. So basically archiving is section is responsible for deleting or archiving the internal order master records. The archiving or deleting of order master record from your data should be a part of your overall archiving strategy, that is the organizational archiving strategy. Now in this case there are two options, residence time 1 and residence time 2. This is a part of the archiving strategy, how they want to archive the data related to internal order master records from the SAP system. So we don't need to do that as of now. We just need to do this much. And there is one more field over here. We can see that there are two options in this case: collective order without automatic goods movement and collective order with automatic goods movement. Now if you have a collective order process activated in the internal order process, the setting will control whether the link between the production order and the collective order will allow automatic goods movement between individual levels of a collective order. So if you select the with automatic goods movement, in that case it will allow the automatic goods movement between the production order and the collective orders. So that is this part. So what we suggest in this case, that you should take collective order without automatic goods movement. So this is what we have went for the assignment. Once we have done these, all parameters have been assigned, we can move on to save the transaction so that the internal order has been created. So it gives the message number range not processed, because number range we will be assigning in the second step. continue it, okay. And now you can see the customization or the configuration have been taken up in the request number, and you can see the data was saved. So the order type 1100 has been created in the SAP system. So this is how you need to create your own order types in the SAP system part. Moving to the next now is that okay, internal order types. The internal order which we have just created order types, the internal order types are of basically four types. One is production order, next is profitability orders, another is investment order, and the last is overhead orders. So these are different order types which can be created in the SAP system, as we created a normal order type, that is 1100. So that is a part of internal order type. Moving to the next is maintaining the number range for orders. So number range assignment is made centrally for all the orders with its order type, as discussed in the last step that order type is always been assigned with the number range. Each order is assigned to a group via its order type. Several order type can be assigned to the same number range group with the same number interval. There are two types of number intervals, one can be internal and one can be external. So every order master record must be uniquely identified within its clients by the means of an order number. So whatever the order numbers created or the internal order created will have a unique number to it, as we used to create number range for the GL number or the customer, vendors and others. Similarly over here we need to create a number range for internal orders. Each order is assigned to a group that is with its internal order type. Several order type can be assigned to the same number range as well, or they can have a separate number range as well. Now moving on to the internal and external number range. In internal number range allocation, the system automatically allocates the next free number from the range of each new order as you create it. Whereas in the external part, the user have to manually assign the number from the given number ranges. So that is a part of number range. Moving on to the number range, how we can create it in the SAP system. So moving on to the SAP system, now to define the number range for the orders, the path is on your screen and the transaction code is also there. So moving on to the path, to the SPRO path, you can see the next step over here. After defining the order type, the very next step is maintain number range for orders. So we'll be defining the number range from over here. Let's execute this option. So once I have executed the order, now as you can see the order number range screen is there. So now we need to go to click onto the groups as on the screen over here, maintain groups, this field. So now in this maintain we need to click onto this groups. Once I click onto the groups, now it will take me to the next screen, and in this now we need to go to groups as on the top, groups menu over here, and in that I need to go to insert. So we need to go to this part. I hope you can understand that. First we went on to groups over here, we clicked onto the groups, then I need to go on the top over here, number range object, edit, go to groups. So in that we need to go to this groups option over here, and in groups there are three options, insert, maintain text and expand. So we need to go to the insert part, click onto the insert. So once I click onto the insert, it gives me a new tab where I need to fill the number range number as well as the text. So we can define the text over here as real internal order type 1200, the same order type description which we have just defined a while back in the last step. and we can define the number range from and to. So the number range I would be taking over here is 10012 1099. So if you take this number range for the internal order from this to this, that is what you have to define on the screen, and then we can move up to over here to insert this particular number range. So click on to the insert, and once inserted, now we can assign the, so now we need to find the internal order type which we just created a while back, that is 1100. So if you drag this down the screen from over here, you will find an option as not assigned on the last part, on the very low part. So you can see there are options as not assigned. These are the different order types which has been created, and these are not been assigned to any of the number ranges as of now. So what we can do is we can assign this number order type, that is 1100, which we have just created in the last step. So what we need to do is we need to put the cursor on this screen, this particular not assigned order type, that is 1100. Put the cursor on 1100, and then you need to go to the option over here, select element. As you can see, that is one of the option, or the second option is that whichever the internal order type you want to assign the number range with, you can double click onto that. So once you double click, you can see it has been highlighted over here. So once it has been highlighted, now you need to go back again on the upside, and now you need to select the internal order to which you want to assign this particular internal order type with. So we need to search the internal order which we have, range which we have just created a while back. Now let's see which that number range is. Okay, this is the internal order type which we have just created, and to this is the number range we have created, and this is the internal order type which need to be assigned to this. So you can see this has been double clicked and it has been selected, and we need to go and select this option over here, real internal order type 1200. Once you have selected this, now you need to go to click on to element groups. So you need click on to element group, and you can see now that this 1100 has moved from not assigned to the assigned part. So what we did is we assigned the order type to the number range with this option. Similarly, you have to create the internal order type, and then you have to create the number range, and you have to assign the internal order type which is not assigned part to this part. So this is how you need to do the assignment of internal order type to the number range. Similarly, you can assign other order types as well. Suppose I am now going to assign ZM01. So what you need to do is first you need to double click onto this so that this will be selected. Once I double click onto ZMM01, you can see it has been now highlighted over here. The color has been changed, it has been changed to blue from black. And now once I have taken this, we need to select the number range. These are the different number range on your screen. So on whichever number range you want to take this order type to, you need to select that. So suppose I select it again with the real internal order type 1200, and now once I have selected this, I need to go to element groups. This means assign the element group. So it will assign this part over here to the number range. So once I click onto this element group, now you will see that the change, that the internal order type which was been in the not assignment part has moved to the assigned part, to the number range. So once we have done this, now we can save the screen, and your number range assignment is been done. So this is what you can continue with it. Now if you want to check the number range assignment for the internal orders, then you need to follow the instructions. Let's see, you need to select your internal order over here. So once you select this internal order on the screen over here, now you need to go to the option over here as a pen mark. This means maintain. So once you select your number range option over here, you need to check box this mark, and then you need to go to this maintain option over here. Once you click onto it, it will show you your number range. So once I clicked onto it, you can see your number range has been reflected. This was the number range which we have just created just a while back. So this is how you can create your number range. You can have a look to your number range from this option over here as well, and your number range assignment has been completed successfully. So now we'll move to the next configuration step, that is order layout. Now order layout, it basically refers to defining the layout for the order master data. You can assign a layout to each order type. So in this particular step, we will be defining the layout for the order master data. In this particular case, the system displays the order master data as a tab with a series of tab pages. On the tab pages, there are group boxes with a series of fields for the order master data. The group boxes are defined by the system, which has to be taken. So let's see, it will give you more clarity once we are on the SAP system how this order layout works for the layout purpose. It basically refers to the same layout like a screen layout, where which fields you want to be keep as a restricted or to be hidden or to be mandatory or optional, that can be done on this particular part. So let's see, the path is there on your screen. Now the IMG control, then internal order and order master data. So let's see on the SAP system, we are already on the order master data. So in that we need to go to screen layout over here and expand. So in the screen layout, you can see there is an option of define order layouts. So this is the order layout. We can execute this tab over here, this particular step, and once you click onto it, you can see there is one layout already defined on the screen to you. Now you can define your new layout as well, or if you want, you can copy it from one which has been created over here on the screen. So let's see how we can go for it. So for creating your own layout, you need to go to this new entries over here. So once I went up to this, I can define my own layout. So suppose I make the layout name as to be 1100, and I can define it as layout for internal order type 1200. So this is how you need to create. Once you have created this, now you have named it. Now what we need to do is we need to move on to, so we'll be moving up to the next part over here. This was layout. Now we need to go to tab page title. So we can select this layout over here and we can move up to the next part. Okay, what we need to do first is now we need to save it. So let's save this option over here, and the layout has been saved. So the layout has been created on the screen. So you don't have to do much, you just have to go to the new entries, and then you have to define the code for the layout and the description of the layout on the screen, and that's it. So this will create the screen layout, the order layout for the system for the internal order accounting part. So you can see this layout has been created now. Now you can select this layout over here and you can go to this tab pages titles. So once I move on to tab pages titles, you will find that the page is blank. Similarly, you will find that the boxes are even blank. So we don't need to do anything in this particular part as of now. We just need to just create this layout, and we have created it. Now we can move to the next configuration step, and the next configuration step is now model orders. Model orders are not orders in a business sense. You can enter them as a reference in order type for creating a normal order. Model orders only contain default values and cannot be posted to. The model orders are greatly simplify the creation of orders. This saves your entering data used repeatedly in orders within an order type. This also reduces any incorrect entries or typing errors. When you just take a simple scenario like when you create any new internal order, all the fields active in the relevant order type are copied from the model order to the new order. The model order make the work of entering new orders considerably cheaper. The data that recurs in orders from a particular order type is already defined, and this reduces the likelihood of errors. The order status is not copied from the order model order. The new order is given the default status for the relevant order type. So it works as a reference where the most of the data are copied from the model order to the internal order, which saves your time and efforts for doing the same repetitive work again and again. So how we can create a model order, let's see. So the path is there on your screen again. Let's see onto the SAP system. So in the same screen layout, you will find after defining the order layout, the next option is to define the model orders. So we can move on to execute this define model order step. Once I click onto the option as execute, now you will find the screen over here that there are two options onto it. One is to create CO model order and the next is to change CO model order. So we'll double click onto the create part first. So let's double click onto the create. So once I clicked onto the create, it asked me the order type. So the order type is there. The order type is the one which we have created just a while back. So let's see the list of different order types on the system. So there is only one as of now. This is what you need to select over here as default order type. So that is these different $2 marks are there. So this has to be taken, and once you have taken the order type over here as this double dollar signs, now we need to move on to click onto this master data, or you can enter on the screen as well. So once I enter onto the screen, it will take us to the next tab, that is set controlling area. So in this particular part, you need to now first have to assign the controlling area to the order type. So that will be Z100. Continue. So now we can see a new screen for creating the model order. So in this particular part, we first move up to the first tab, that is order over here. In this we need to define the code for the model order. So the code which will be created over here must start with a dollar sign. So we need to take a dollar sign first of all. Without dollar you cannot create it, so you have to take care that you have to start with the dollar, and then you can define the rest of the code over here. So suppose I take the code as 1100, and then you can define the description as well on the screen. So the description can be taken up as, suppose I take it as IBM INC or LLC you can take. Now moving up to the next is you have to define the company code over here, which is a mandatory part, and you have to select the object class. So the object class to be selected is overhead. So these are the 2-3 parameters which you need to select on the screen. The rest of the parameter are optional. It's up to your discretion whether you want to fill the other parameters or not, but the minimum parameter you have to take is the order, then the description, the company code, and the overhead as we have taken up over here. So once we take these options, now we can move up to the next screen, that is control data, next tab. So moving to the control data, in this currency we need to put the currency, that is USD. So now we have defined the currency, we can save this screen, and the internal order will be defined, sorry, the model order will be defined for the system. So let's save this option. So as I saved, now you can see that it has been created and the request will be saved for that. So now you can see the order was created with the number $1100 as on your screen. So now we need to assign this model order to the order type which we defined sometime back in the starting part of the training session. So let's move up to the next now to assign this to the order type. So you can see the order type is over here in internal order, order master, define order type. So we can go back again to the order type, execute it. So once we execute, you can find your order type 11, or you can even search with the position tab. So that is 1100, enter. This is the order type which we have created. Now we can go to double click on it. So once I double click onto this, now this takes me to the next screen, and in that we can have a look over here to the model order, and now we can search the list of model order options, and in that we can assign our own model order which we have created just now. So this is the model order which we just have created, and we can double click on it so as to select it for the internal order type 1100, and now we can save this screen, and the model order has been assigned to the order type. So this is how you need to assign the model order to the order type as did. Now once we have done this, we can move to the next. So moving up to the next configuration step is creation of internal order groups. Internal order groups is basically several internal orders are grouped into one order group is known as the internal order group to display a certain structure. You can use order groups for number of different purposes as under for planning, overhead calculation, settlement, evaluation in reporting. So these are some of the options where the internal order groups are used and are very helpful. So how we can create an internal order group, that is what we will be moving to this particular step, and the menu path is on the screen to you which we can create. So we can move up to this controlling internal order then master data. So let's see, in internal order we need to go to master data. So we can move to order master data over here, and in order master data now you can see the next option is the special functions and then order group. So we need to search the special options now. Okay, we need to go to the SAP Easy Access, not the SPRO path. So let's move up to a new session now. So now moving up over here, in this we need to go to accounting, SAP Easy Access, as you can see on the heading accounting. Then in that we need to go to controlling, and in controlling we need to go to internal orders, then master data, and in master data we need to go to special functions, and within the special functions we need to go to order. Okay, this is order, we need to go to order group. So within master data we need to go to order group. So this is the path: SAP Easy Access, accounting, controlling, internal order, then master data, then order group. The transaction code has also been mentioned to you over here, which we can take it off, and this has already been mentioned on the next line to you. So let's move up to the order group. Now we can create this option create. We can double click onto the create option, and once I click onto the create option, now it take me to the next screen now, that is order group. So over here we need to assign the order group number which had to be created. So let's see, the order number group which I would be creating is 12001100. So 1200 represent the company code and 1100 represents the real internal order group which is created now on the screen. So once I have assigned the number, now I can enter on the screen, which will take me to the next screen. So once I entered, it take me to the next screen over here, and over here now we can put the description of the group. So the description can be taken up as real internal number group. So this is the group which has been created as on the system. So once we have defined this, or even you can have different other groups can be created, like there are different internal order groups can be created, like for overhead there could be a different group. Then again we can create more such groups. Save the screen, and the group has been created. So this refers to the overhead group, that is whatever the internal order which will be used for overhead purposes will be taken up over here. Or even you can, it's up to you how you want to put the description as per your convenience. Now I can go back. So once I go back, even I can create more of such, like I can create 1200 enter, and the second one can be named as investment, or even like production can be given as a one name, or another name can be written as projects. So that is what can be taken, and you can save that screen over here as well. So this is how you can create number of different groups as on have created on the screen. So once this have been created, now we can go back. So this is how you just need to create the order group. Similarly, you can go back and you can change the order group as well. So we can click on to the change option, double click onto the change option, it will take you to the change. And if you don't know the number, the order group number, you can go to the list of the order group and you can have a look to that. So you can see on the screen the number ranges have been assigned. These are the two which we have created just now, and apart from that there are a number of different groups which is already defined on the system by default. So we can go back again. Suppose I take this projects, and now I can enter on the screen. So once I enter, it is a change option. Now we can change the description if you want to change, and even if you want to assign the number ranges, the other internal orders to the internal order group as well. So this is how the change works. And similarly we can go back and we can go to the display option as well. So display option is just to display the internal group, what is in it and what are the description in it, what are the different internal order assigned to the order group. That's it. So you cannot do any changes to this particular part. So these are the three different transactions for internal order group. One is to create, another is to change, and the third one is to display the internal order group part. So once we are done with this particular part, now we can move up to the next step, and that is creation of internal orders. Internal order means overhead orders. It deals with management of overhead of a project or a task. Internal order is the collector of cost other than the cost center. It has a short life compared to a cost center. An internal order is a self-contained mini project cost object. That is, it is a collection of cost but not a full project with WBS, that is work breakdown, and network relationships. The internal order should settle to fixed asset or a project, or to the cost, or maybe to the profit center at the accounting period end, that is the period end one. The internal order are used for short-term purpose like trade fair, job fairs, etc., whereas the cost center is used for a long-term purposes to capture the day-to-day cost. So this is the one of the most important master data item that is required for using internal order accounting. Much of the information required to enter the internal order screen can be filled up on this particular internal order part. So let's see how we can create an internal order. But before moving to creation of internal order, one must understand that internal order are of two types. One is real order and another is statistical order. Now, real order and a statistical order. Real order gets real postings, that whereas statistical order gets statistical. That basically means that internal order can be posted and accounting entry is generated in case of real orders, whereas in case of a statistical order it is only used for information purpose. It has no impact on the accounting part. Real order can be used for allocation purposes, whereas statistical order cannot be used for allocation purpose. A real order has a financial impact because the general ledger receives a posting, that is, an accounting entry has been generated for a real order part, whereas a statistical order does not have any financial impacts. So a particular internal order can be a real internal order or can be a statistical order that depends upon how you create that internal order. So let's see how we can create an internal order into the SAP system. Moving on to the SAP screen now. We'll moving up again to the same SAP Easy Access screen that is over here on the screen, and we can go to the accounting part, then to the internal order. And internal order, now we can find that there is a master data, then a special functions, then order. So you can see over here in this special function we can expand this part, and then in that you will find orders, and then we can expand it. And now you can see over here the option as create. So to create an order we need to go to create, and we have to double click onto the create option. So as I double click onto the create option now, so you can see over here you have to assign the order type first. So order type is the one which decides that the internal order will be a part of which. And the very first part I said that the internal order has to be assigned to the order type. So now we have to assign the internal order which we need to create to the order type. So we can assign the order type over here. The order type which we created in the training session part was 1100. Let's check back the same. So you can see over here, you can search that. So that is it over here, 1100 real internal order type 1200. So we can double click on it and we can select this internal order type over here on the screen. Once you have selected the order type, now we need to enter on the screen so as to move to the next screen. So once I entered on the screen, now I move to the next screen, that is the assignment section, which determines what organizational units are needed for the internal order to be viable. These assignments are specific for just this one internal order, whereas the configuration we did for the order type would be reusable in all the different internal orders. So now in this particular option what we need to do is we need to select the object class, that is overhead. We need to select the company code, and we need to assign the profit center. If you know that this particular internal order belongs to a particular profit center, in that case you can assign the profit center also. But in case the internal order can be used for number of other profit center as well, in that case it is suggestible not to assign any profit center to it. So it's up to you. If you feel that there are a number of different profit center that can be used, you can use that, else you can define the profit center over here. So let's see the profit center options. So these are the different profit centers. Suppose I assign a profit center to it, 11000. So once we have assigned these part to it, now we can move on to the next screen. So review these settings and then complete any field which is empty that you need to fill it. and then we can move on to the next screen, that is the control data. The rest of the fields as on the assignment field over here on the screen are optional. It's up to you if you want to fill these details. You can take them over here, else you can leave them blank. Moving to the next is the control data. Control data tab, which contains the section's status, and the control data requires a bit more review and analysis. So in this part, what you need to do is you just need to select the currency over here. So the currency has been taken up over here as an INR, USD, and then you can see over here the option over here is statistical order. So if you want the internal order to be statistical or a real order, for real order you don't have to do anything. If you save this particular internal order, it will be real internal order. But if you want this internal order to be a statistical order, that is, this internal order will be used only for the information purpose, it will not have any impact on the financial statements or any of the ledger accounts in the FI part. So in that case, you need to select this as statistical order. So if you select this as statistical order, it will be a statistical internal order which will be used only for the information purpose. So if you select this, now we can move to the next, that is period end closing. So in the period end closing require a bit more information. Now that information depends upon the settlement part, so that is what we'll not be doing anything as of now onto that particular option. We'll see that later on once we will be on the period end part. Moving to the next is the general data. We don't need anything to be done in that, and investment, nothing is required. So the major option over here is assignment and control data. These are the two fields which need to be assigned. And now we can save the screen, and you can see now the internal order has been created. So the order was created with number 1001. So this 1001 is the number range which we assign to the order type, if you remember, from 1001 to 1099. So it is the first number which has been assigned to the internal order. Now we can move back to the easy access path. Now once you have created the internal order, and in case you want to change anything in the internal order, we can move with the change option over here. We can double click onto the change, and then you can take the internal order number on the screen over here and enter on the screen. So once we enter, it will display you all the informations as defined while creating the internal order. And in case you want to change anything in these details or anywhere on the other parts of different tabs, you can make the relevant changes as required, else we can go back and you can save this screen. So whatever needful changes needed, you can do that. So you can define the internal order description over here as well, as you can see on the screen. So suppose I give the description to this internal order as project 1000, or you can name it as project ABC. So this is a project ABC for which I have created an internal order, and I will look after to the project what are the different expenses been held on it. So we can save this screen now, and the changes have been made. Now we can go back, and even the same way we can move up to the display option over here as well, and we can double click onto the display now, and it will display you the internal order. Enter. So you can see now this is in the display mode. This is just for the information purpose, that you can display the internal order, what are the different master data informations which have been filled in the internal order, but you cannot make any changes to it. So this is how we have covered the internal order part, and we'll be moving on to the next configuration steps now here on in the next training session. Till now you can go through all these configuration steps in the system, and we'll see you in the next training session. Thank you.